SpongeBob has been on for a pretty long time, and because of that, there are many different seasons that vary in quality. Today I'm going to be explaining all the SpongeBob eras, which ones are good, bad, and average. First up is seasons 1 to 3, which I call the Golden Era. This was the very beginning of SpongeBob, and that's when it was at its best. If you randomly come across a SpongeBob fan, 99% of the time they're going to quote an episode from this era. It has so many incredible episodes like Rock Bottom, Band Geeks, Chocolate with Nuts, and I could really go on and on with this list. The comedy in the earlier seasons of SpongeBob was absolutely hilarious. I don't know exactly how the crew did it, but they managed to make one of the funniest cartoons I've ever seen, and the best part is you can go back and rewatch it today. The episodes are still incredibly funny, so it has a lot of replayability.
I surrender! Oh, SpongeBob! Squidward, why are you wearing my hat on your nose?
It makes sense that SpongeBob seasons 1 to 3 and the first movie were the best, because that is when Stephen Hillenburg was on the show, and he had the biggest influence over everybody on the crew, so he knew exactly what he was doing. However, when he left after the first movie, things began to go downhill. That's where we get to seasons 4 and 5, which I call the decent era. There was definitely a major drop in quality from the Golden Era, and obviously this was because the show was going on longer than it should have. Nickelodeon wanted to keep it going because it was so popular, so of course the quality decreases, especially because the original creator left. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are a few episodes in the decent era that I do consider masterpieces, like they would fit right into seasons 1 to 3. An example of that is Krusty Towers, which I couldn't go a single minute without laughing. Although I probably shouldn't count that because it was supposed to be in seasons 1 to 3 anyway, but due to the limited amount of episodes per season, it came after that. Either way, I'm not gonna call seasons 4 and 5 bad. The main thing I would say is that it's a step in the wrong direction. It was showing that SpongeBob was only gonna go downhill from here, and the first 3 seasons were the top quality. Nothing could beat that. And now we go on to season 6 to 8. This is the absolute trash era. Around this time is when more and more people stopped watching SpongeBob. What can I say about this era? It's just complete garbage. I'd rather stare at a wall for 11 minutes instead of watching an episode coming from this era. There were many bad things about it, like the fact that it focused so much on gross out humor. The Splinter is a prime example of that. This comedy was just something not many people wanted to see at all, and it was completely different from the previous seasons, so it just came out of nowhere. Also, most characters did not act the same way as they were in previous seasons. SpongeBob himself began to get really annoying. Patrick wasn't just stupid, he became extremely mean for no reason. Another bad thing about this era is that the episode concepts were absolutely terrible. There were so many rehashes of old episodes, except they were done even worse. And when you have a cartoon like SpongeBob that's been going on for such a long time, I can understand if some episode plots are reused, but the amount of times that happened in these seasons is excessive. The crew was not trying with ideas at all, and the show just took a major quality decrease because of that. This is when SpongeBob was at its absolute worst, and while there definitely are a few memorable episodes like Not Normal, overall it's an era that nobody wants to go back and remember.
Hi. How are you?
Ow!
SpongeBob, you're back to your square shape!
Wow! I guess Squidward's normal look scared me back to my original form. Thanks, buddy. You saved my life.
Wonderful weather we're having.
Next up is season 9, which I just call the average era. This is very hit or miss. Half of it is really bad, the other half is okay. The important thing here is that we saw a light at the end of the tunnel. The episodes were getting slightly better than the absolute trash era, but it was still not very good. And finally, we have season 10 to the modern seasons. I call this the Renaissance era. I've talked about so many different episodes from previous seasons in my videos, and I really do think this show is actually getting entertaining again. Like, yeah, every so often there's a trash episode, but there's still so many more good ones than previous eras. The style in the Renaissance era is just really awesome to look at. Also, the characters are actually returning to how they were in the very early seasons, so that's nice. And finally, one of the best parts about the Renaissance era is the fact that old crew members are coming back on SpongeBob. Stephen Hillenburg has an influence on the show once again. There are a ton of unique episodes plots that haven't been done before, and overall this is just a nice era. I definitely don't think that SpongeBob will ever return to its former glory of the golden era in seasons 1 to 3. However, I'm not complaining because the show is actually entertaining again, and that's really all I could ask for. But anyway, that's all for this video. Subscribe for more awesome cartoon videos. Give a thumbs up and comment below to let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.